Hello and welcome back to our Vectorworks 2026 drafting tutorials. Today we're going to be working on creating title blocks for various sizes of paper. So to start this project, you are going to need the Union College logo. It can be downloaded from Nexus in the general categories section, but we're going to be using that later on in the project. So for starters, go ahead and open a brand new drawing in Vectorworks. It does not need to be in a Spotlight template, but you do want to be in the Spotlight workspace. For this project, we're going to be working with with sheet layers rather than design layers. Remember that design layers are where we do the majority of the drafting and the drawing, and then the sheet layers are how we lay things out for presentation and printing. So for starters, we're going to click on the design layer drop-down menu, and we're going to come right here to new sheet layer. We're going to click on that, and a new splash screen will pop up like so. We're going to make the sheet number be just 1 and hit tab, and the sheet title we are going to make be ASME A, which is a paper size. It's basically an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And then we'll click OK to create that. And here is our sheet layer with our newly defined piece of paper. Right now it's in a portrait orientation. We want to change that to a landscape orientation. So I'm going to click on File and Page Setup, and I'm going to come over here to where it says Size and say ASME A, and click OK. And now that automatically puts my paper into a landscape orientation. Next, I'm going to draft the border for our page here in this particular size, and I'm going to do that using the double line polygon tool. So I'm going to click to activate that. I want to make sure that I am in left control line mode, and then I'm going to go into the preferences here, and I'm going to select create lines rather than create polygons for this particular action, and I'm going to make my separation 1/8 of an inch. It's important to remember that in a sheet layer, you are drafting in 1:1 scale, so 1/8 of an inch separation between these lines will actually be 1/8 of an inch, unless we go into a specific viewport and start editing things like dimension lines and other notations. Otherwise, we're in 1:1 scale. So I've got that set the way that I want. I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to come down to my attributes palette, and I'm going to change my line thickness to 28. So I have nice thick border lines that are going to define the edge of my drawing. From there, I'm going to start in the upper left-hand corner, the page top left corner, and click to start. And I'm just going to drag all the way around the perimeter of my drawing, clicking on each of the individual corners until I've gone all the way around and completed that. And I have a nice double line border that's 1/8 of an inch apart. The next thing I'm going to do is draft the title block for this particular page size. So I'm going to activate my selection tool, the letter X, and I'm going to click an empty space to deselect the 2 border lines that I just drew. From here, I'm going to come down to my attributes palette, and I'm going to change my line thickness from 28 to 10 so that my title block is a little bit thinner than the borders I just drew. From there, I'm going to activate my rectangle tool, number 4, and I'm going to zoom in on this lower right-hand corner of the drawing, and I'm going to reference the inner border line in that lower right-hand corner. Once I've got that smart point, I'm going to click and drag to start my rectangle, and I'm going to tab into my floating datum bar and make the X -4 inches. I'm going to make the Y 1 inch, again remembering that I'm drafting in full scale since I'm in the sheet layer here. Once I've got those set, I'll hit enter. It'll define those distances, and I can click to complete the rectangle of my title block. Next, I'm going to bisect this so that I can create some different segments. I'm going to activate my line tool, so the number 2, And I'm just going to start on the center left edge of the rectangle I just drew. I'll click that and drag all the way over, and click on the center right to complete that line. Next thing, I'm going to draw a vertical line right along the right-hand vertice of the rectangle. So I'm just going to go to the top right corner. I'll click there to start it and drag it down to the bottom right and click to finish it. From here, I can move it with the Move tool. So while I still have that line selected, I'm going to activate that Move tool with Command M, and it'll bring up this splash screen asking me where I want to move it on the X and the Y offset. So I do, in fact, want to move it -1 inch on the X offset. Doing the negative is going to move it to the left. Doing the positive would move it to the right. But I do want to move it to the left, so I'm going to keep that at -1. And I'm going to set my Y offset to 0 because I don't want to move that line up and down at all. Once I have those set, I'll click OK. And we can see that my line has been moved into its new position. Next, I'm going to put in some text fields that we'll reference later on in the drawing. So I'm going to activate my selection tool, the letter X, and just click an empty space to deselect that last line that I just drew. And then I'm going to activate my text tool. That's the T up here in the basic tool set, or the shortcut is the number 1. And once I've got that activated, I'm going to come up here and just double check some things. I've got the graphic light font selected. That'll be fine. My font size is 12. That'll work. And I've got it under a left justification. All of that's exactly what I want. From here, I can just hover in this empty space in this top left segment of my title block and click to start my text editor. And I'm just going to call this drawing. Basically, this will be the title of the specific drawing that this page is representing. Once I've got that set, I'm going to hit Escape to exit my text editor, but the text will stay highlighted because it's now a selected object, which is great. That's exactly what I want. I'm going to duplicate that and drag it straight down into the next segment, which will be my drawn by, identifying who did the drawing. So with this selected, to duplicate it, I will hit Command D, and that will automatically create a duplication. I'll grab the center of that and just drag it vertically straight down into the next segment. And there's my second text piece. I want to edit that, so I'm going to double click on it, and that will take me into the text editor. I can highlight all of that text and change it to drawn by. And once I've got that updated again, I can hit Escape. That'll take me out of the editor, and then my text is just an object. I need to do this one more time to populate the information in my other two boxes on the right-hand side. So I'm going to select both of these pieces of text and duplicate them again. That's Command D, and drag them to the right till they're in kind of the upper left-hand section of those segments. The top one I'm going to change to scale. This will reference what the scale of my drawing is. Once I've changed that, I can hit Escape, and I can double-click on the lower section so that I can edit it, and I'm going to call that one Date so that we know what the date of my drawing is. With those all done, I'll hit Escape again, and my selection tool, and I will click an empty space to deselect them. Next, I'm going to duplicate all of the text that I just did and reposition it yet again for something else that's going to be referenced in just a minute. So I'm going to click and hold Shift so that I have selected all of these individual pieces of text. And then I am going to duplicate them. So Command D will make them all be duplicated. From there, I'm going to grab each of those duplications and move them to the center of their various segments. So I can click on Drawing and Drawn By, and I'm going to just kind of drag these over till they're in the middle. And I'll do the same thing with scale and date. Just drag them until they're kind of in the middle of that segment. That looks pretty good. Let's actually line these up with, there we go. I'm going to change the justification on all of these so that when I change the information, I know exactly how it's going to appear. So I'm going to select all of my new duplications in the center of their segments. And I'm going to come up to the Object Info palette. And down towards the bottom, there is the horizontal and vertical alignment. And I'm going to change both of these to center. Now it's going to be referencing the center of that text for any text that it creates or changes. The last thing I'm going to do is click on my drawing label here, and I just want that to be a little bit more bold, a little bit more forward, so it's identifying the name of that particular drawing. So again, in my Object Info palette, I'm going to take my size and change just this one to 18 point, so it's a little bit larger. From there, I can deselect that, and I'm done entering all of my text. Next, I'm going to create a new record format, and this is the way of changing specific types of text without changing the text block completely, and I'll explain what I mean as we go along. So I'm going to come up to my resource manager and make sure that it opens. And I want to make sure that I'm in the file that I'm working in. Right now, I only have that one file open, so that will be just fine. I want to right-click in this open space where the resources would appear, and I'm going to look for a new resource in Untitled 6 because I haven't saved this drawing yet. So my new resource is going to be record format. Once I've got that highlighted, I can just click it, and it will create a new record format for me. I'm going to change this, the name of this record format to ASME A, referencing the size of the drawing that I'm creating. And once I've got that renamed, I can click on New to create a new field. It's going to give me this splash screen. It's going to asking me what the name of this particular field should be. I'm going to tell it that it's going to be drawing, and I'm going to make its default text drawing as well. You don't have to have default text. I just find it a little bit simpler if you do, and a little less confusing. So I'm going to make both of those drawing and then click OK. And it's going to show that I have one field. It is a text field. The name of it is drawing, and its default value is going to be drawing. I'm going to do that 3 more times, creating new fields for each of the text blocks that I created when building the title block. So I'm going to say new, and this one is going to be drawn by, and the default will also be drawn by. I'll do a third one, which is scale, and a fourth one that is date. Once that is all set and I've got that record format created, I'm going to click OK, and here is my new record format in my resource manager of that file. From here, I'm going to make a symbol out of everything that I've put together so far so that it all acts as one specific entity. So I'm going to come up here to my zoom section, and I'm going to fit to page area and click that just to zoom all the way out. And then with my selection tool activated, I'm just going to draw a marquee around all of my border lines, my title block, and all of my text so that I have that all selected. From here, I'm going to come up to Modify, and I'm going to say I want to create symbol. And when I do that, it's going to give me this splash screen. I'm going to call this ASME A border / title block. That looks pretty okay. This is asking me where I want the insertion point to be. Plan projection center is just fine for this, so it's going to put it right in the center. The other information actually doesn't really matter at the moment. So with that all done, I'm going to click OK. And it's going to ask me where I want to put this. For now, just inside this particular file will be just fine. So I'm going to click OK to do that. So now you can see this is all moves as one object that is the size of the piece of paper that I'm working with. The next thing that I'm going to do is edit the symbol that I just created so that I can assign various text blocks to fields on the info record that was just created. So with my selection tool, I'm going to double click on this symbol to enter it. It's going to give me this splash screen about editing the symbol and some various options. For this one, I want to edit the 2D components because that's all that exists in this part of the symbol. So I'll click Edit, and now I've entered into the symbol and I'm editing it specifically, nothing else in my drawing. So I need to select each of these text fields and assign them to the fields in the info record. So to do this, I'm going to click on Drawing, the one that's in the center of the segment, and I'm going to come up to Tools, Records, Link Text to Record, and this splash screen is going to pop up. It's going to ask me which field it is that I'm working with. So for my formats, I only have the one that I've created, so that's obviously selected there. And this wants to be referenced by the drawing field. This is why we made the fields and the default names the same thing. So I'm just going to select Drawing and click OK. I'm going to repeat that process for the other three. So Drawn By is going to be Tools, Records, Linked to Text Record, Drawn By. And same with Scale and Date. Once that's done, all of those blocks of text are linked to those individual fields in that record. So I can go ahead and just click Exit Symbol up here in the upper right-hand corner. And with it still selected, with it still highlighted, I'm going to come up to my Object Info palette and hover it over it so it expands. And now we can see the individual fields with their default information. And I'm going to change each one of these. So I'm going to make Drawing be my drawing for the sake of this exercise. Drawn By is going to be my name. The scale for this one is going to be 1/2 inch equals a foot. And the date is going to be today's date, which happens to be April 7th, 2026. And now we can see down in my title block that all of that information has been populated with what I just changed it to. So those text blocks are referencing that data that I've put into my Object Info palette. From here, I'm going to zoom out again up in my zoom box. I'm going to say Fit to Page so that I have the entire thing on my screen. And I'm going to save my document. I'm going to just say Save As. And I am going to, for now, call this Drawing Title Blocks. That's it for the size A drawing. Next, we're going to be going into creating more complicated, more complex text blocks or borders and title blocks for larger format drawings.